Welcome, everybody, to the April 2026 Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Roundtable. So happy to have everybody here. It's wonderful to see all the familiar faces and some new faces as well. Tonight we have, I think, another great program for you. And here's what we're going to be doing. So after our opening, we will have a safety moment. Michelle will take us through the adventure plan. After that, we're going to talk about our main topic, which is starting up a DCSA program in your council. And I think we've got a really fun way to do it today. We've got some folks, I don't think any of them would claim to be the experts on this, but they're all people who've been there, done that in their councils, and have a lot of experience that I think a lot of people will be interested to hear. And so glad to have them here. After that, we'll have our announcements. We'll close off the meeting, and then we'll hang around for some open discussion at the end if anybody wants to sit around and chat. So with that, if you would please join me. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Scout oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And the outdoor code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean without my outdoor manners, to be careful with fire, to be considerate in the outdoors, and to be conservation minded. Thank you, everybody. Now, Michelle, can I turn it over to you?
Yeah, so my safety moment this month, I did something just a little bit different. I don't know if everybody had a chance to read about the within scouting .org, the new tool to help leaders help scouts plan for safety and plan a safe adventure. So we now have a new scouting website to help scouts and leaders work through the steps needed to plan outings or adventures, known as the Adventure Plan or TAP. Try it as your team organizes your next outing to help your scouts be prepared. Let's face it, as adult leaders, we often know what the safety things are, but how do we guide our scouts to be able to figure out what safety means? So this is a great new tool. I was kind of excited when I was going through it, so I wanted to make sure that we highlighted it this month for the safety moment. Next slide, please. So the adventure plan provides a one-stop set of tools to help leaders envision, plan, prepare, and it really should say youth leaders envision, plan, prepare, and conduct safe, exciting, and successful outdoor adventures, because that's really what we want to get to. Your unit adventure may be as simple as an overnight backpacking trip or a bike ride, or maybe it's a week-long or longer activity. So the guide is helpful with the assistance of an adult leader. So instead of us telling them what would make a safe trip, they can do some exploring, and there is a slew of resources. Obviously, in a safety moment, I don't have time to put it all in, but we'll put it into the chat. If you haven't checked it out yet, there's a lot of resources, a lot of step-by-step to really help our scout leaders, our youth and youth patrol council meetings really plan that safe adventure, that fun adventure, and make sure that everything we're doing is appropriate. Next slide. So each one of these 6 waypoints to adventure, and they're very clear about using the word waypoint, since each one is a stop into planning that safe adventure. If you click on all of them, not on this slide, I didn't copy the links over, but within the website, scouts can actually choose an adventure. What are some things that we could do? What's some ideas? So here's some suggestions, and the first place to start is what you want to do, where you want to go, when you want to go, and who is responsible for each of those steps. Sounds a lot like plan ahead and prepare. So that's great. I was even pleased to see that there are lots of links to our Leave No Trace pages, our outdoor ethics pages, for scouts to be able to find some of that information. Then you start number 2, plan your adventure.
That's what.
What makes an adventure safe for number 3? Then prepare. If we're going on a week-long backpacking trip, that's not something you plan 1 week and head out for the next week. So what are the things that we need to do to make sure that we're ready to go? And then the adventure itself, and I really like this after adventure of documenting what went well, what didn't, so that when you want to do something like it again, you don't have to start from scratch each time. Closing out the adventure not only saves time for the next group, it helps them do it even better. So a special thanks to the National Camping and Trekking Committee for putting this piece of the website together and being able to link to all of the rest of us to be able to make sure that all of our adventures are fun and safe and are planned ahead and prepared for. With that, that's your safety moment for tonight.
Thank you, Michelle. So, um, tonight's program is different. We're actually going to do what the original roundtables were, which is we're going to get some folks together and we're going to discuss some questions of common interest and get different people's experience and learn from them. I think that's an awesome way to go. One thing I'd like to start with is to make it clear, this is not replacing and this is not the same thing as the DCSA training in My Scouting. That's still the place to go to get trained and to learn about being a DCSA advisor, how to be on a conservation committee if you're going to be reviewing a DCSA proposal. So that's still there. What we're doing tonight is we're taking some people. Last month, I hope most of you were able to see the 4 youth who talked about their experience working on the DCSA. And now this month, we've got the folks who advise them on their conservation committees, the people, on the adult end of that. And we're going to talk to them and get some idea of what all goes into running a DCSA program in the council. So the folks we have lined up for tonight, in order of first name here, Bill Kamen from the Michigan Crossroads Council. We have Carol Brown from National Capital Area Council, Jim Honan from Pathway to Adventure Council, John Selstrom from Greater Colorado Council, Sarah Holtz from National Capital Area Council, and Wayne Schimpf from Pathway to Adventure Council. So those are the folks that we'll be hearing from this evening. So I'm going to kick it off with some questions here. If you've got some questions, feel free, please, to put them into the chat box, and we'll get to them later as we move through these. So the first question I think a lot of people are going to have is, who got your DCSA program started? Did it start in the Conservation Committee, some other committee? Was it an individual? How did the program get going in your council?
I'll jump in with that. My adventure into the Conservation Committee started back in 2012 when I counseled a scout in getting the Hornaday Award Silver. And then I had several more, but fast forwarding it to where it really formed, and that was underneath the Deputy Chief Scout Executive. And he said the Properties Committee had most of all the conservation that dealt with the natural resource use of the camps, but did nothing with the education part. And so he said to keep your committee simple and on target and a single task oriented, just deal with the educational activities of the conservation program by National. And that's what we did and built our committee around.
We were fortunate, Paul, in the NCAC to have somebody who's on our chat tonight choose to reinvigorate the Hornaday as his wood badge ticket. And we were very fortunate to have John Selstrom be the person to really get this kick started. So from the Hornaday Award, then segued into the DCSA with he and Will Rogers at the helm to get everything really kicked off and started for our council.
Okay. Carol, you mentioned Will Rogers. I worked very closely with him for 2 or 3 years in helping him sort that out, and you really lost a spark plug there. But glad you're carrying on. So, yes.
John, anything to add, or John Selstrom? Okay. Bill, anything?
No, just to add, DCSA is handled in our Council Conservation Committee, just as such. William T. Hornaday Awards were as well prior. We have a small but growing committee for DCSA, and as you move through the questions, Paul, I'll answer further.
Sure. So the next question I have is, which council and district positions and committees help you support the program? I mean, it's not going to happen just with you. So what other parts of your council, of your districts, support the DCSA, and how did you get them involved?
Well, I can address that. We've besides forming a committee, initially focusing on the Hornaday and then evolving into a conservation committee, uh, uh, we involved our council's advancement committee because, again, the DCSA is an award, and as we know that a properly designed Eagle project can be used as one of the two DCSA projects, but there's an educational process there. So we really work closely with our council's advancement committee to get the word out. This is the proper way to do that.
Okay. Anyone else have something to add? Okay. How does your council management support the program? And then likewise, what did you do to get them involved?
We're very fortunate in the NCAC. The council has a project management software called Basecamp. And from the Basecamp, then you can create pages that help communicate within groups. So we have a conservation committee homepage that talks about all the projects that are going on conservation wise. Then we formed one specifically for the DCSA advisors. So no scouts, no parents, just the DCSA advisors. And from that site, we can help track what's going on. Council is also wonderful. We go ahead and ask them about every 6 months, has anyone new taken the training? So then we can reach out and pull them into the fold as advisors. That helps us then match interested scouts with hopefully somebody within their geographical area to become their advisor, so you don't have somebody trying to counsel a scout that's like 50 miles away.
Well, in Pathway to Adventure Council, that the deputy chief scout executive steered us to a DE who happens to live in the same area that Jim and several other committee people live and everything like that. So they have a good working relationship. And then also our chief scout executive, Jeff Isaac, kept going to his meetings with other scout executives, and he kept getting asked, well, how come you have a good number of Hornaday Award silvers and bronze and also DCSA awards in your council? And so he proudly says, well, he's got a good conservation committee going. So having the chief scout executive for your council backing you and so on like that. And we are piloting some other things. Jim may want to talk about that if we have time. But having the chief scout executive involved with presenting the DCSA award and so on also helps you go and grow your award activities.
All right. Is there anybody else that you've leveraged that we haven't talked about? I mean, scouting is definitely a team sport. So, anyone?
Okay. Well, what we have leveraged here in our council is that our council has entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Forest Preserve District of Cook County. And they have 70,000 acres of conservation resources, staff, and programming, and so on, that they have entered in an agreement to actively support scouting in the use of their district's resources. So we've been able to utilize their naturalist staff and buildings and so on for holding World Conservation Award activities, and also staff being able to be paid to conduct activities for the DCSA Award and the World Conservation Award. So that's a very strong partner that we have and are very fortunate to have that resource.
So it sounds like they're giving you, some of the technical support as well as the access to the properties, and they think of you as somebody who can perhaps do some of these projects that they wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
And also for the last 15 years, the Forest Preserve District has been funding a full-time position as an Eagle Project Coordinator that any scout in the council can go to in order to be able to connect to a fisheries biologist, ecologist, and so on like that, in order to do their Eagle project. And then he also is a resource to our committee in helping guide the scouts into doing the DCSA Project 1, along with starting their Eagle project in that. So that's a great resource to have a agency-funded Eagle Scout coordinator for the district's resources.
Yeah, Paul, being in an area around the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. area, and being in a much more urban type of environment, we've managed to build some great relationships with the local community parks from the various counties around the area, and then also some of the master naturalists organizations, master gardeners, and some wonderful groups who deal with managing of invasive species, specifically plant species in the area. And those are some great relationships that we've managed to propagate, to get not just sites lined up, but also expertise lined up.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I want to change the question up a little bit here. So, how many youth have you have earned the DCSA, and how many are in the pipeline now? I mean, how big an operation, is this for you at this point? Just
I'll jump in here, Paul.
Yeah.
We've had 2 scouts earn DCSA in Michigan Crossroads Council, one of whom is being awarded this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. And we also have another scout in the process, Max, whom we heard from last month. Yeah.
Sarah, if I'm wrong on this, but we have so far had 4 complete the DCSA process, and at current count, we have 7 in the pipeline.
Wow. Okay.
So Paul Selstrom here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you now, John.
Yeah, thanks. I'm connected 2 ways. I'm traveling right now. So Carol, I'm over at Andrews, and too bad I can't see you. So everything I know about this award I learned from Sarah and Carol. Kind of just kidding. I used to be an NCAC, moved out to Denver in 2018. We had the perfect storm out here between LDS leaving, COVID, um, several other things. So literally, I'm the one-man band rebuilding this program out here. I've had 2 scouts earn the DCSA in the last 2 years. Luke Nortman, number 56, Lydia Meekins, number 88. And I have 2 that I'm working with right now. I've had about half a dozen express interest, but then, something happened. So, but I'm fairly confident these 2 that I'm working with right now will finish up their awards. So I'm also an assistant council commissioner for unit service and roundtables. Gives me a license to wander around the council, and every place I go, including Majestic Mesa's Roundtable, or I should say Merit Badge College last year, promote the award. You just never know when you're going to run into a scout or a scout parent that's interested in this. So a little bit of catch up there, Paul. Thanks for bearing with me. Over.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So just I guess a follow-on question that brought up here. What is a typical time for a youth from when they first make contact to when they reach completion? If there is such a thing as typical.
Yeah.
Well, it's this is Jim from Pathways. It's a little variable. It's a hard question to answer because it has a lot to do with the youth as well as the projects. We've seen some a really driven youth that is a well thought out some well thought out projects that they wrap them up in less than 2 years. Again, it's really hard to be specific on that. So,
Well,
So Paul,
go ahead.
yeah, sorry. Well, I was just going to say, we work on Scout Standard Time. When they decide it's urgent, we need to be ready and respond because they're ready. My 2 that I worked on through the award took about 18 months.
I agree with that. It so depends on the exact issue that they're conquering. So pollinator garden invasive management, that can take longer than establishing the recycling and getting that going. But whenever a parent or a scout asks me, okay, how long does it take? You hate to say it depends every time, but usually we've had the scouts take about 18 months on total 2 years usually, but each individual project anywhere between a year to 18 months, depending on what the project is.
Well,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say in my experience with Schremen, who you got introduced to, and then Madeline Painter, who I believe somebody may want to correct me, but she was the only scout to earn the DCSA with silver, being that she completed 4 projects in order to get the DCSA Silver Award because she was right in the window between the Hornaday and the DCSA. And I spent about once a month with Madeline Painter and then with Schremen off and on, and went out to Philmont several different times and took Paula's course on that she offered out there on outdoor ethics. And then I went out and took the Hornaday Award one because I had one scout that I counseled, and he got rejected. And so I wanted to make sure that I knew how to counsel the scouts in doing a write-up so that it would be accepted and utilized. And have been trying to figure out some way of because if you wait for a scout to come to you and so on, that many things can get in front of the scout's original interest in that. And we have to have some type of prod to get them to return to the conservation interests, which they have, if you can bring it back to the forefront. So that's the problem, that we get a number of scouts that want to do it, but the time lag between they saying they want to do it and it's months and so on, it gets to years and so on. And so somehow we've got to figure out some way of having some type of periodic follow-up, whether I don't know. I think that's one thing that's lacking in the DCSA process, as to how to, once the scout has said, I'm interested, or, interested, as to how do you make the hook and how do you get them to go and grow and get the award.
Question for you. So obviously you guys aren't all doing this alone. You've all mentioned, the other people. How many other people do you have, and how do you assign them? Carol, you've mentioned you try to get somebody who's geographically close, and
Yeah, we've got Paul in our council right now. We have 14 registered advisors across the area. Yeah, I know. Well, I keep bugging to give me a list of those people who have taken the training, and then I reach out and grow and grow and grow. So we have about 14 registered advisors. We keep a nice spreadsheet as far as who's assigned which scout where, and we've got 6 regular proposal reviewers. Some are advisors, some are not, some are in the conservation area, and then we have the same number or so of board of review members and call on to assist with this. So our goal is to not overload somebody with multiple scouts at any given time earning the awards or going and doing other things. But yeah, so we've been fortunate that council has been really great as far as giving us the information, so then we can then reach out, bring them into the fold, show them that they're not alone.
Carol, you mentioned earlier about this base camp program. Is that something that you can find on scouting.org, or where'd you find that, or where is it located?
Our council actually had it set up during COVID to assist with the merit badges online that they did and a couple other things. So the council is the one that manages the software that's there. You get invited to join, and then you can, if you're invited to join and given privileges, you can make a folder or a little homepage that talks about specific things that are in there, and it's getting permission to make the homepage there. I can offline get you more information about it, Wayne. It's a great open access program that provides complete transparency. Multiple people can view it.
Okay, but it isn't a Scouts America program. It's an external one.
No. Yeah, it's a commercial product.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Yeah. And so does council pay for that license to have the commercial product?
Yeah, they do it, and it's really good. A lot of districts have their sites there that, for example, the Key 3 from our district uses a site. And then they can do things like add scout camps, Cub Scout things, all to it. It's by invite only.
Okay.
Yeah, so Wayne, Base Camp, and I think it's a superior program, but it's a commercial product. NCAC has, and they offer a rate for nonprofits. NCAC was one of the founders, I guess, of using that, so they have a great price for what they have. But it's intended for district and council scouters, not unit scouters. As Carol said, it has different, let's call them sub home pages. So Conservation Committee has one, other committees have them. I've been trying to promote it out here in Greater Colorado Council, and I'm struggling. But it is a superb place to go and gain consistency, and that's why NCAC wanted it. They wanted their district and council people to. Carol, did I say that all right?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, and Wayne, if you want to send me a note, I I have some advocacy papers on that, Wayne. If you want to send me a note, happy to share.
Yeah, okay.
I'll
Bill,
give you a price point. $3,300 for 120 scouters a year.
33. Oh boy. Well, I don't know who's gonna afford that.
Yeah.
But,
That's part of the problem. But
yeah.
it takes these kinds of things. Otherwise, and Carol, you have, what'd you say, 14 advisors?
Yeah.
You use that base camp, I suggest, to provide consistency.
Yeah, Jim,
okay?
what committee structure did your communications subcommittee come up with for PTAC?
Yeah, we have the whole council. We probably have 15 subcommittees and throughout the council. And so we can talk a little bit about that
Okay.
offline. I think we need
Yeah,
to
okay,
talk
fine.
about
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
to follow on Carol, I'm envious. At Pathways, we have 6 registered advisors, and plus we use a coordinator that maintains a spreadsheet of everyone, all the scouts in our pipeline, and then we lean heavily on the conservation committee to provide project reviewers, board reviews, and all of that type of support.
So what this conversation has kind of evolved into is actually my next question. And it's really, what are some of the challenges that you faced, running a DCSA program?
Well, from the youth perspective, there seems to be some interest, but then looking at the whole effort required to earn the award, it's pretty challenging for a lot of youth. So there's a high level of interest at the beginning, and it tapers off rapidly to the number of scouts that actually complete and earn the DCSA.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, James. It really is something where they think it's going to be, oh, it's a 1-day project and then I'm done. And to try and communicate the size and scope and project breadth and the length that they're going to be working on this is really difficult to convey. I've actually asked some scouts who's like, yeah, I heard about this project. I think it's cool. I want to do it. And I'm going, I've actually asked some of them to go online and look at the advisor training, to sit through one of the sessions, the overview session, and to get an idea of the size and scope of what's there. And then, we'll get online and have a Zoom call, and it's like, hey, here's the workbook. What do you think? And you can just see the enthusiasm in some and the trepidation in others,
Right.
as they look at how big of an undertaking this really is going to be.
It is. It tends to be. It becomes very daunting to the youth. Another challenge, and again, not to be too redundant, I mentioned the Eagle projects earlier. We've had multiple instances where scouts will come to us with a completed Eagle service project that they want to use as one of the 2 DCSA projects, and and we're not able to accept that. The sad thing about it is sometimes we see some really excellent conservation related Eagle service projects that if we had worked with the youth before they did the Eagle project, it could have qualified as a DCSA project. But again, it it's created a little bit of frustration when a scout thinks that they can apply a completed Eagle project to satisfy one of their DCSA.
So why not? What rule says you can't? What rule says you can't re-engineer that Eagle project to be a DCSA project to address what I call the preamble and the postscript, and maybe do a little bit more research? Why can't you do that? Is there some rule somewhere that says we can't?
Well, depending on the project, John, you can. It takes quite a bit of effort working with the conservation advisor. We
Right.
had to do that here recently with the Michigan DNR.
Yeah.
And it was significant conversation on our part as advisors were, communicating with the DNR, but it was very good conversation. And I think we learned quite a bit going through it to help navigate that next time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thank you,
good
Bill.
point.
And we've done the same thing. We've had several projects presented to us, and we had that conversation with the scout and says, okay, you've done this work, but this is what we believe you need to do to make it qualified for, again, the upfront research and then to demonstrate the impact. And we've actually tried this several times and we've not been successful.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I need to say I've tried it, both Hornaday and DCSA. I'm working with Scouts DCSA. I was successful on Hornaday. I got the investment from the Scout to understand the why of what they did. So I just wanted to, it's possible, but it's a tough hill to climb.
So what we've kind of taken the position that if a scout is interested in the DCSA and has a good Eagle Service project in mind, to talk with us before they start the Eagle Service project, it just goes easier for us.
Oh,
How do you, I
totally agree with that.
Yeah, how do you get them, James? How do you get them to know about you in order to have that conversation? In my council in Orange County, in California, we have a big problem that because each district, and we have, I think, 7 or so districts, each district has an Eagle Review Committee, and none of the old farts on that committee know about this award. They might have known about the Hornaday from back in the dark ages, but they don't know about this. And I have been standing next to them as a unit commissioner when they were talking to a kid who was going to do a stream restoration project, and they had no clue that he could do anything with it. So how do you guys, all of you, how do you deal with that?
We promote and we talk every opportunity we can get to explain the process. Roundtables, district kickoffs, any kind of activity, we try to explain over and over and over and over and over. And we're not complete yet. There's still a lot of people in our council that still don't understand the process, but we're not giving up, but we just have to promote it constantly.
Yep.
well,
I agree with that, James. You just need repetition.
Yeah.
well, one of the things that I like to do, being that I was a high school teacher also, is to break the DCSA award down into 3 simple things. One, that the scout has to learn with a conservation advisor about the science behind his project. And then the second part is to plan to do something with do something regarding the what he's learned, and again with the conservation advisor and also the DCSA paperwork, advisor. And then the third component to me, which is the most important one in order to help use conservation to grow scouting, is to educate others. Because most all of the scouts are in high schools, and most all high schools today have a green club or an environmental science class and so on, and take the project into the school, into his family, into the unit after they give the outdoor code and so on. The scout could report on his process of his doing the DCSA conservation activity, and then also report back to the community. And once the scout understands and that, it's learn, do, and educate, those three steps in that, where the Eagle project is usually just the do, and that's it. So you add the learn before the do, and then the educate afterwards. And to me, that makes so much more sense in talking with a scout, that you've got to do these three steps. So,
Right. For our council, one of the best ways that we've got information and had feedback on scouts getting interested in the award is that we have a blog called We Own Adventure. And one of the educational aspects that we've developed with a lot of the scouts who have earned this, who are in the process of earning the DCSA, is when you complete a project, write it up, advertise it in the We Own Adventure, plug the DCSA in there. And if a scout is interested, well, hey, I'm interested in doing this, we can always point to this blog and have them go ahead and research what other scouts have done, get ideas as far as not just what they've done, but how big, what size, what scope. Sarah, you mentioned something?
Yeah, hi. Sorry to interrupt. I have a few thoughts about promoting since it sounds like we're talking about that now. So when I was leading outdoor ethics, I had a monthly outdoor ethics and conservation newsletter. I think a lot of people on this call actually were subscribers at the time, and we always had a section about that with shout outs to the scouts who had completed projects, information, links to the blogs that Carol's talking about. If you take a look at weownadventure.com, you will find a blog for all of the DCSA projects, each of the projects, not just the one. The council's monthly newsletter often featured those blogs and information. We shared examples at University of Scouting courses that we had. We also offered that University of Scouting course as a virtual course online on Zoom. So we did that several times. We had info tables at the University of Scouting. We offered, we had guest speakers at district roundtables. We had a district program launch. We talked about it, and district and council social media posts about, again, the scouts, the projects, the shout outs, the information, the sessions that we were hosting, the educational events we were doing, et cetera. So it was kind of like every single promotional mean we had at our disposal, we used, and we just kept saying it and saying it and saying it. I think back to Carol's point, it is really hard to explain the scope because someone will come up to us and say, I'm going to label 100 storm drains. Is that, and I'm going to get a DCSA. And it's like, no, or they'd say, I'm going to do trash cleanup. And I'll get a DCSA for it. And it's like, that doesn't meet it either. So it was really hard to kind of explain the science and the steps to researching an issue and figuring out how you would address the problem versus just kind of coming in with a project and thinking that a really big project like seemingly labeling 100 storm drains would be adequate. So thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. So take off. I have a different question I think some folks might have here is, what skills, backgrounds do you look for in volunteers to help you with this? I mean, is there anything in particular you look for or not? Um,
Patience.
yes.
Well, what we've found is people that have an interest in conservation. Because right now I have a, a naturalist just retired after 35 years with the Forest Preserve District of Cook County, and she's looking for something to do. And she's attended several of our scout functions. Jim has met her and so on like that. So we're trying to find somebody that's got a good nature background but doesn't have a scouting background. Or you find some of the parents that drive their son or drive their scout to a World Conservation Award, and they're sitting in the back of the room for the 3 hours of the class activities and that. And so you have a chance to talk with them. So we've been able to recruit a few parents that were curious and wanting to help open some doors for their son or for their scout to go and grow into the DCSA award. So we've gotten a couple of people, that way. So where you either find them they're interested in because of conservation, because they're experts in the topic, or they're curious parents that want to help their son get involved with the process and are willing to go online and take the DCSA award training.
So, Carol, let me ask you this question because you kind of led up to me asking this with one of the comments you made before about partnerships and how, partnerships are so important. It wasn't just you, I'm just picking on you. But uh, I mean, is that something you look for, people who have connections like that? Or is it just that the people who are interested already tend to have those connections? I mean, which, I guess it's a chicken and egg question here.
Um, we're very fortunate because of the robust county park system here that a lot of the people already who are interested in this already have some sort of relationship with either a park or a nonprofit organization that works in conservation or that works in the out of doors. Partnerships are great. They're not necessarily a game stopper if somebody doesn't have contacts. We're not going to say, oh, go, find a contact before we talk again. I'm more interested, does somebody have the passion and the commitment to really do something as opposed to how many uh, relationships they have with other organizations? Because we can go ahead and find those relationships. They're out there, and once you start making one, it's amazing how the row of dominoes starts to fall. Once one county knows that you're really good with and really really committed with following through with good projects, they are more than willing to bend over to backwards to say, well, hey, but this park here also could use some work, or this group here is really willing to work with scouts. So it is something that relationships are great. And I'd love all of my new advisors to have wonderful relationships, but it's not a game stopper.
I want to prevent anybody else from answering that before I move on here.
Well, just one thought. Mike Anderson, who's on the call here, he's from Northeast Illinois Council, but he's also sits on our Pathway Conservation Committee, and he conducts some of the outdoor ethics leader 1 and 2 courses, and for the scouts and the parents that come along and so on like that. Mike helps recruit and so on people for our conservation committee. So, Mike, I don't know whether you want to jump in and say anything regarding your involvement and how you have attracted people to the conservation committee.
Yeah, just offering the outdoor ethics programs with Leave No Trace and instructor course, and then doing outdoor ethics orientation, for the youth and getting those people involved. And it's helped attract several people for their committee. So councils, reaching across to help each other is, you know, a great benefit.
Yeah, so Mike is it's a resource again. He chairs for his own council, the Conservation Committee, but he also works closely with ours and everything. So uh, he has developed a unique niche to help us grow our uh, outreach and involve more parents that'll support their scouts in working on the award. Thanks, Mike.
So, next question is, how do you recognize your youth who earn the DCSA? Bill, you said you've got one coming this weekend, so I know you're ready on this one.
Yeah, yeah. We uh, um, for this weekend, we're having a special court of honor specifically for this scout. We'll attend. Committee members will attend. Units already planned court of honor, but for this one, I'm actually we've got a newer scout leader that needs help really with the entire court of honor. So I'm helping out planning the whole thing. So, but and then we also will invite the youth to a special council event. So that could be like a distinguished citizens dinner. It could be multiple things. It could be a board meeting. We had a Hornaday recipient that was invited to a very recent board meeting, and then was invited to a larger council event where they could speak. And we had a table set up for like pre-dinner where people could take a look at pictures and learn more about the projects that he did. So yeah, there's just a few examples. Yeah,
So-
and then we have a council certificate piece that we can present as well.
Okay, in PTAC, we have done we've presented the award twice. One at the unit's own court of honor. And at that court of honor, we invite the Chief Scout Executive to come up and become involved with the physical presentation, and also gives a charge to the scout for being able to use the skills and so on that that the recipient has learned and experienced going through the DCSA award. So that's at the unit level. And also at the council level, we have an Eagle recognition dinner once a year where all Eagles and the Venture Crew and the Sea Scouts, and then also we recognize the DCSA award recipients and everything. So it's at least two different levels of presentation in that. And the big thing is asking the Chief Scout Executive to come to the unit awards program.
So Paul Selstrom here. What I did for Lydia last June is she was a senior patrol leader for part of our NYLT session. We had the closing ceremony Saturday morning. All of these scouts are there. All of the parents are there. And we had the council president come and give Lydia her certificate, which I had framed in the DCSA colors. So everybody saw this nice framed certificate. They saw the medal. They heard from the council president, and out of that, I had 4 scouts contact me for more information, 2 of which I'm working with right now. Over.
Right. At our council, we usually try and give the scouts an options. Like, do you want to have a DCSA recognition at your unit level in conjunction maybe with your Eagle Scout if they've done one of the projects that overlaps. We always recognize them, whether they're in attendance or not, at the annual Court of Honor for the council. So they'll have a bio written up in the program and a short description of their projects. And then we use that We Own Adventure blog. And once their board review is finished and all the paperwork comes back, we write a congratulatory submission to the blog.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Bill, I think there was one thing that you mentioned to me when we spoke, that you had a a learning event planning for this upcoming Court of Honor when you ordered the DCSA packet.
Oh, yes. It should be mentioned here. So what I learned is that what comes back from the national office is the certificate and the square knot. The actual medal itself needs to be purchased. It's a restricted item. It cannot be purchased online, but it needs to be purchased through the local scout shop. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. So, yeah, Court of Honors, there's never anything happening at the last minute. I know. It's just, yeah. So, here's my last question, then we'll go to the ones that are in the chat here. Does anybody have one thing that they would want to recommend to a person who would really like to get DCSA going in their council?
Well,
Persevere.
I would start with the online training first.
Okay.
John will be able to attest to this. I asked a lot of questions, an obscene amount of questions.
Excellent. Thanks. Well, with that, I'd like to move over to the questions. I don't know, Michelle, have you been reading the chat? I have not been watching the chat at all.
I've tried, but it's small tonight, so, and I don't have a dual screen. So there were a couple in there. Some of them we have already covered. And stuff. A lot of it was a lot of how do you promote it? Was looking for.
Can I add a quick question or comment? I was just going to say,
Go
I
ahead.
think from my perspective, my experience was that if you find people who are actually doers, those were the people that got it done more so than people maybe who had the expertise, had the degrees, maybe had, name recognition at high levels. I think in a lot of examples we can show where people who didn't have that, but were willing to spend a lot of time and get the work done because it takes a lot of time.
Right. One of the big questions, and I can relate to this one, is the small councils that don't even have a conservation committee, or don't have all the different committees, and certainly don't have the manpower. How do you make manpower when manpower doesn't exist? I think was one of the themes through several questions. I'll tell you from my standpoint, I'm in South Dakota. We have lots of land. We have very few people. In South Dakota, we don't have a conservation committee. We do have a properties committee. They don't want us. So I actually use we don't even have like training committee, camping committee. We don't have any of those anymore. We just have an outdoor programs committee. And so our board of review for a DCSA is actually made up of members of our outdoor programs, our camping chair, our outdoor programs chair, or those that have been trained either as a level 1 or a level 2 instructor. So I try to pull people to do the board of review that can understand what the scout is coming with versus our Eagle board of review, which strictly just deals with Eagle scouts and aren't interested in dealing with DCSA scouts. So for those of you in smaller councils, it can be done. You just have to kind of fudge around and see where you best fit within your council structure, and then go from there.
Well, one thing I've had some fun with is finding out which high schools either have FFA or have an environmental science class or an outdoor or ecology club in that. And that if they've got some spark plug students that are interested in conservation or natural resources or forestry or something like that, or even involved with 4-H and so on like that, that you can introduce the leadership development that scouting offers in order to help go and grow the high school youth planning and conducting their own activities and that. And so this is another way that you can help grow, some support for building your DCSA conservation, type of activities, is to look around for the resources in your community at the high school and at the school level that are already doing it, but not necessarily via scouting, and introduce the leadership development of scouting into their active science inquiry programs that they're conducting.
I'm seeing several questions in here that are going to take some research. How many youth have earned the DCSA, and some other questions. What I'd like to do is I'll take these questions and we'll put these together and have some answers at the next roundtable, if that's all right with folks. Maybe we can, type them up and put them in, post them online with the recording of this as well. But
There is one I can answer, Paul, and that's, when will the workbook be updated to reflect the new Scouting America brand? I know
Yeah.
the Conservation Committee has been meeting, and they've been meeting pretty regularly the last month or so, and they are looking to have that updated shortly. So they're doing several updates. So it is in active working committee to be completed in the very nearest future. So
So Paul, to piggyback on that, much of the Conservation Committee toolbox is on the website. I worked with several people, Carol and Sarah being there, some other people, to write all of that. I think last month we came to a conclusion it needs to be updated. So if anybody would my offer was to work on updating that. Anybody on this call would like to help me coordinate updating those things, I'd certainly appreciate the help. So send me a message.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's another interesting thing, John. Thank you for mentioning that. Is if you go to the national website, there are all sorts of great resources on DCSA to really demystify the whole process. First of all, the workbook, pretty well written, but there are all sorts of reviewer resources that are online also. As far as a proposal review evaluation form, what we're looking for, the various parts of things for that. And same thing for the board review. There's all sorts of wonderful resources that are already there. And it's great when somebody says, well, what are you looking for? I can easily point to that resource as here's a very great objective resources. We're not looking for floof or anything like that. This is what's written. This is what we're looking for.
Right. Yeah, and that's part of that Conservation Committee toolbox there. I think Carol and I went to a national committee meeting, Conservation Committee meeting a few years ago, evaluated at the time Hornaday bronze, silver, gold medals. What we concluded is this isn't solving world peace. This is understanding the science on a natural resource conservation problem.
Right.
So,
well, Paul, you want to say anything about the February Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Conference? It's going to be held in Seabase. And
well, I will say this. I mean, the agenda for that conference isn't set yet, but I would be probably the most shocked person in the room if there isn't some significant DCSA content that's included in that conference. So, Chris,
can I jump in on that one? If you don't
Chris,
mind?
I was going to say you might want to jump in on that, but yeah.
Hi, perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Castillo. I'm the conference chair for our National Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Conference. If you haven't heard yet, it's coming up in February of 2027. The main conference, the long weekend of February 18 to 21. But we often have a bunch of pre-conference workshops as well. Those will be running from February 15 to 17. In the past, we've offered DCSA advisor training. And the last discussion we've had in our committee is about putting on not just a DCSA advisor training, but a slightly more advanced track of DCSA advisor training. Many of us, if not most of us, have already taken the online trainings. And so what we'd like to do is really kick it up a notch. So building on the discussions we've had here tonight, what can we really do to promote that in our council, to help advise youth, to help build awareness of the award, all that sort of thing. So it sounds like there's some interest, and I'll make sure to pass that back to the committee as we're putting pre-conference workshop topics together.
Thanks, Chris, for doing that. I just want to have the plug so I can also con my wife into letting me escape to Florida for a week. So, yeah, because I think a lot of these topics that we're talking about is that we could further discuss it and come up with some strategies and so on like that we could take home and so on like that. And then also to look at having something again out at Philmont and that in the second or third week in September and so on to come out there and meet face to face and build teams, and each one of us active practitioners invite a newbie and get that other younger person charged up and so on so that they can take over your shoes and keep walking. You let somebody else pass you up and keep going.
Thank you, everybody. With that, I think it's time to move on. And if people want to stay around afterwards, we can continue some conversations then. But for now, I think it's time to move to the announcements. So, Chris already mentioned this. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add with that, Chris, or
I'll give one more quick pitch and then I'll let you keep going.
Yeah.
We just decided on our conference theme. It's going to be chart the course, protect the source, outdoor ethics from ridge to reef. So being at Seabase, we're going to spend some time at the Britain Environmental Center to learn about the coral reef restoration efforts that Scouting America has been involved with as part of the whole conference-wide program. So we're really excited for that part, and we're continuing to work on developing the other conference programs. So stay tuned, and we'll have a little bit more for you in May. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, coming up next month. Can you believe May is next month already? At the end of next month is Conservation at the Summit. This is a new program. It sounds awesome. If you have any youth or know of any youth or know people who might know youth who are interested in conservation, this is a great chance to go get real conservation education followed up by a real project. And oh, by the way, you get a day off to have fun. And it doesn't cost too much. It's only $350. So get the word out on this. This sounds like an awesome program for any youth who is interested in conservation. This year we have 4 level 2 courses scheduled, and the link to see whatever so you can check online anytime to see if there's been any more courses scheduled, but these are the ones that are scheduled as of today. So if you, once again, we need people to be trained, and because this training not only is good technically, but it's a great way to build passion. And one of the things I really picked up from our conversation during the roundtable today is that passion matters a lot. Passion, you're willing to have the patience, you're willing to work with the youth, you're willing to define what it is to make the youth successful if you've got the passion. And these classes are great at building conservation passion in people. So get the word out. If funding's an issue, there are scholarships available to help offset the cost of the course. So we don't want cost to be an impediment to any person being able to take this course. One other thing I just wanted to point out, and this is one, I don't know if people know about this or not, but there's a great page that Mark Hammer keeps online here with the news page. And since we changed, the website a couple of years back, maybe some people lost the links or don't have it, but scouting-oec.org/news. It's pretty easy that way. So great place to keep updated. That's where Chris will be posting data, more updated information on the outdoor conference and other good things that you'll want to know. So check that page out. Another thing to think about is Scouting for Clean Waterways is going on. Here's a link. We'll put this link online as well. It was an Aaron on Scouting just a couple weeks ago here. But anyway, how you can participate. Get the word out on this. This is a tremendously successful program so far. It can be even more successful. It gets Scouting a great PR, and it gets us noticed, and this is how we build membership. So let's get out there with Scouting for Clean Water. On a personal note, thank you to the couple people who've sent me photos lately. And I ask all of you, if you've got scouting photos, nature photos from your trip, from a scouting trip, whatever, send those to me, please. And I will love to use them in future roundtable decks. Finally, another topic is, want these roundtables to be valuable to you. So please send an email to roundtable@scouting-oec.org. Let us know what work, if there's been a roundtable that's been very helpful, let us know so we can do more of that. If there's one that maybe missed the mark, that would help us to know as well, because we don't want to miss the mark. We want to do what it is that helps you. If you've got an idea or a thought or a request, let us know, please. We want these to be very valuable to you. And by you, I mean each person. This recording will be posted online, just as all of ours are. It generally takes at least a week for us to get them up there, but we will try to get those posted as soon as we can. And to close off with my minute here, I guess once a Scoutmaster, always a Scoutmaster. I always have to have the last minute. The drama of the Sky Dance is enacted nightly on hundreds of farms, the owners of which sigh for entertainment, but harbor the illusion that it is to be sought in theaters. They live on the land, but not by the land. So they think about this. People are out in nature and living in nature, and they see these beautiful displays of nature, and they don't appreciate it for what it is, thinking that they need to have entertainment from something else. So think about this as you're going out. Maybe a fun idea to do with some kids while you're out there is go someplace where you're watching nature. Hopefully you get away from, a developed area when you're out back, and you see some wildlife that's doing something. Make up a story that goes with it. Make that into a movie. So here's what you see. So what can you put on around that? What can you put around that to make it fun? And just think of the observational skills you'll be building in the youth, and they're going to start thinking about what those animals are doing. Anyway, have some fun when you're out of doors. So that's it for tonight. Next month we'll be talking about taking Cub Scouts fishing. I mean, Cub Scouts love to fish. So how do we do that? And we do it safely, and we do it so it's a whole lot of fun. So that's what our topic will be next month. Thanks so much for joining us.